Does your vision for business match what you see happening on a daily basis? Welcome to Jim White's Circle of Success show, where Jim White brings it all together. For over 30 years, Jim White has worked with organizations and individuals worldwide to help develop and implement excellence. You'll get the inside story on how to create innovative leaders from one corner of your company to the other. Get everyone on your team contributing to the bottom line. Keep building revenue, even when the economy and your customers have flatlined, and more. Jim White's Circle of Success show covers it all, from communication to contract negotiation, from personal fulfillment to revving up cash flow. It's not about theories, it's about showing what works and how to make it work for you. And now, here's your host, Jim White.
Thank you, David, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have two fantastic guests on the show. For the first half hour, we have Dr. Massoud Amin. Dr. Amin is a professor at the University of Minnesota. He's also considered one of the pioneers and fathers of the smart grid. After 9/11, he was instrumental in security of our grid, if you will. He's going to be here, like I said, for the first 30 minutes. And at the bottom of the hour, we're going to welcome Susan Barich back to the show. And Susan and I are going to talk about the business plan competition that was held in Monterey, California on May the 5th. So we'll be back with Dr. Amin after this message.
The current business climate is becoming more and more complex. CEOs on the cutting edge know they must explore strategies to understand and command the marketplace. The first annual JLW CEO Summit, Strategies for a Complex Business World, will enable CEOs and business leaders to explore strategies applicable to an ever-increasing complex environment. A unique opportunity to become educated in complexity theories and inspired to turn those theories into real business strategies with a focus on earnings, market share, and brand improvement. A powerful format that is a blend of the World Economic Forum, the Clinton Initiative, and TED Talk. Hosted by best-selling author and world-recognized management consultant Jim White, Ph.D. Along with many specialized business authorities, you will explore strategies for a complex world. The much-anticipated JLW CEO Summit, Strategies for a Complex Business World, will be held in the beautiful Hayes Mansion in San Jose, California, September 25th and 26th. Visit us online at jlwceosummit.com.
Thank you and welcome back. Dr. Amin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. White. Delighted to be here.
I have been looking forward to this interview since we were talking about it a few days ago. And if you will, give our audience a little bit more of your background. You're a professor at the University of Minnesota, but you have such an extensive resume. So tell us a little bit about some of your work, and then we'll just have a conversation. I want to hear more about your wonderful honor recent as far as the pioneering in the smart grid. And also we're going to talk about our CEO Summit in September, and I am honored to share with the world that you have agreed to be a faculty with us for this great two-day event. And so we're just going to have a conversation and give everybody a preview of what's to come. So if you will, a little more of your background, and because, like I said, it is extensive.
Thank you, Dr. White. I had the privilege of working on a lot of systems that are complex, that are hard to manage from a top-down fashion, that they need a different approach to the management and the reliability, whether it's security, whether it's business performance. They have needed innovative approaches. My systems have changed in the last 30 years from helicopter for the Department of Defense. As the helicopter maneuvered, it would vibrate. So Sikorsky and Army wanted to develop a fast way to make it more smoother transitions and make it also at the same time more agile. I worked on that from 1982 to 85. Since then, my work expanded to squadron of aircraft, to the whole logistic networks for the Department of Defense, and then it grew from 92 to 97 to layers from fuel supply, logistics, communication, personnel, enterprises. And from 1998 to 2003, at the Electric Power Research Institute, I served as head of mathematics and information sciences, where I started the work on smart grid, the overlay of sensors, communication, automation to enhance the resilience and security and efficiency of our nation's electricity system and infrastructure. And in between, I've worked on a lot of different problems, whether they're business enterprises, how to make them more adaptive, more resilient, have foresight, and closer to home, since about 9 years ago at Minnesota, I lead the Technological Leadership Institute, which we develop leaders, executives for Fortune 500 companies, for entrepreneurial organizations. And one part of our work, perhaps I can show you quickly a picture behind me.
Yeah.
This is the 35W bridge that you're seeing. And I witnessed the collapse of that.
The I-35 bridge that collapsed, right, in Minnesota.
Exactly. August 1st, 2007, it collapsed, and I was in this office. I witnessed the collapse.
Wow.
And after the collapse, I went on, I called 911 and went on. We are on the side that is the south side of the bridge. The only silver lining out of that tragic day is that this is probably now the safest bridge in the nation. And 13 alumni of one of our graduate degrees were involved in the reconstruction of the new bridge. And they put a sensor network into the bridge at less than 0.5% of total cost of the reconstruction. It gives you full situational awareness of fractures, chemical changes, ice buildup, de-icers. So that's exactly what we're trying to do for organizations. What to measure, how to feed that into strategy, and how to make it operationalized in a world we're under increasing competition. So for the workshop in September, that's precisely the direction we are going to, that today's leaders face really unprecedented and complex series of business strategy, demographic, global, as well as what technologies, when, what, how. And these challenges require, beyond the status quo, to create a more focused, effective organizations, more resilient, adaptive enterprises.
After 9/11, what was your involvement there for the security of the grid at that time? Can you share more about that, please?
Dr. White, I was less than a mile from Pentagon at a briefing that we were giving to the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, Pentagon, colleagues from Pentagon, from National Security Agency, on catastrophic failures of infrastructure on that tragic Tuesday morning. So I was supposed to fly out that afternoon from the DCA, from Reagan National Airport, and everything, of course, was shut down. And immediately when those tragedies occurred, my first thought, actually, a colleague from National Science Foundation came and sat next to me. She was a little bit late, and she asked me, it was around 9:07, 9:10 a.m., and asked me, did you hear about the plane that hit the World Trade Tower? I said, no, I've been in the meeting since 8 this morning. I said, was it a terrorist attack? My immediate reaction was it a terrorist attack? She said, no, I think it was a small plane, probably a heart attack or somebody medical condition. Less than 45 minutes after she said that, the beepers went off. And colleagues from Pentagon left the room. They came back from NSA. They briefed us that our nation is under attack. So within an hour, I got on the calls, and telephone was, as you know, was really jammed that day from New York and DC. But managed to put a team together, and I'm grateful to EPRI. When I got back on Friday night, I was put in charge of all the security research and development on behalf of EPRI for our nation's utilities. So I directed that everything from rare but high impact events to how do we safeguard, how do we prevent, if it happens, what do we do about it. So that I had the privilege of leading all the security research and development for our nation's utilities, in the aftermath of those tragedies for about a year and a half. Then I got promoted. In addition to security, I directed all the grid operations and planning, energy markets, risk and policy assessment before joining Minnesota in 2003.
Fascinated. You know, what I find fascinating, Dr. Amin, your initial response was it a terrorist attack? Can you share a little bit more about that? What made you say that? Why was that your initial response?
You know, I was born in Tabriz, Iran. I left Iran in 1977. I was born in northwestern part of Iran. My whole upbringing, when you're brought up, my parents were medical doctors and they did a lot of volunteer work in poor parts of Iran in villages. So attraction to electricity emanates from seeing those poor villages in developing parts of the world without electricity. Life expectancy was in the low 40s. Women would have died trying to give birth to children. Cracked soil, nothing was growing. And when they would get electricity, life would blossom. Access to electricity, deeper pumps, deeper wells to bring water up. And then when I moved to New York, my second week in America was July 13th, 14th, 77 New York City blackout. And I saw the whole fabric of society collapse. If you look at the headlines during that week from Time Magazine, from New York Post, it was really looting, over 1,300 arrests. So on one side of the world, I saw villages without electricity. On the other side, I saw the most advanced, amazing city that I'd ever seen, New York, fall apart. Whole fabric of society that depended on infrastructure. So when that colleague, Dr. Mir Hill from NSA, told me about the small plane hitting the war tower, perhaps it's the upbringing, the training, and I had worked with DoD for many years, from 1985 to 97. The immediate thing was, and the second question I asked was it, sure it was a plane, or was it American Airlines? Symbolically something, immediately was that reaction. And it's perhaps what we're prepared for and what we train on that prepares us to think in a certain way. Actually, that can be the bias of hindsight, that we miss precursors and focus on things that are not really an issue.
It's interesting, Dr. Amin, you were talking about you left Iran in 1977. As you may recall, I used to be with Ingersoll Rand Company, and actually our office was in Tehran, and that was one of my first international postings, was Saudi, and then became the Middle Eastern manager. So I so appreciate what you're saying, having witnessed firsthand the villages, and then I think you just communicated so beautifully about 1977, that day, how you could have one of the most sophisticated countries and blackouts go, and we turn back 1,000 years, if you will, and looting and things of that nature. So infrastructure, the resilience, and what we're going to be teaching in September has a lot to do with the leadership and culture, and so we got to get a break in, Dr. Amin. So we'll be back after this message.
This segment is brought to you by Circle of Success, a dynamic, year-long intensive management and leadership development process designed to help individuals and organizations reach their goals quickly. A customized process addressing specific needs and identifying the critical opportunities particular to the individual and organization, with results measured in increased revenue, increased net profits, and increased equity. The Circle of Success, inspiring excellence in people. At jlwhiteinternational.com/circles.
We're back with Dr. Amin. Dr. Amin, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Let's talk about, if we will, a little bit more about what you're currently doing in the electrical grid side, and specifically, is the University of Minnesota? I mean, what are you doing there? Because, as you know, our mutual friend Dr. Ted Lewis and I we're always talking about the infrastructure, and whereby the United States is operating on 1940 technology, if you will. So maybe you share a little bit about that. And then we want to kind of drill down about your leadership initiative that you're doing at the university, which is going to be a big part of what you'll be doing in September at our CEO Summit in San Jose.
Thank you, Dr. White. I wear two hats. One is I direct the Technological Leadership Institute. We have 5 endowed chairs. Former head of innovation, 39 years at 3M, is one of our faculty. A colleague, really creme de la creme, and we bring 47 top-notch senior faculty from across 8 colleges at the University of Minnesota, CEOs, CTOs, chief strategy officers, to teach in our graduate degrees that are geared toward full-time, fast-track working professionals. They're typically managers, senior managers, directors, who are fast-track to become executives. And part of that, we have both Master of Science in Management of Technology, we have a Master of Science on Security Technologies, and another one on Infrastructure System. They're all geared toward fast-track professionals that are moving to positions of increased leadership. So a lot of what we do in leadership development, our mission is to develop leaders for technology-intensive enterprises. And the institute that I direct is 27 years old, created by Honeywell Foundation. The other hat I wear, I'm a researcher. So I apply and I work with my graduate students, with my doctoral students, with my colleagues in electrical and computer engineering on applying complexity theory, probabilistic risk assessment, forecasting, predictive, anticipatory modeling, complex enterprises. And they range from national infrastructures for oil and gas, water, electricity, energy in general, cyber. So a large portion of it is how to make these systems resilient. One part, smaller portion of that is for business enterprises, how to make business enterprises agile and resilient, especially when they are in an area that they can be disrupted or they can disrupt others. So what's their strategy, how to create those capabilities in-house, especially when we're dealing in this, what you're familiar with, VUCA word, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous word, how to basically balance between change, anticipating inflection points, and initiating, responding to those changes, while continuing exploiting the upturns and minimizing the depth and duration of downturns. And on top of all this, delivering predictable, above average results. We're in Minnesota, we deliver above average results, both on the short term and the long term.
The business leaders, again, and I know this is a little bit out of your field, but one of the things in California, and well, not only California, but across the United States, you know, one of the challenges we have is our infrastructure, from our roads and our railroads and public transit systems, water, sewage, etc. They're all falling apart. However, you take California, our home state, Sacramento, our capital, you know where I'm going with this, and you got all the levees that are designed for 100 years old. And then we need to put construction people to work. One of the, in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that is to get construction projects off and running. But the big question is funding, because we've got to this point where we rely on the federal government in order to fund these major projects. Has there been any consideration, what I'm going to use the public-private partnership side? We got to come up with a different way, not only with the technology and resilience, we got to come up with a different way to get some funding in some of these projects. And boy, I know I just bit off a mouthful, right?
Well, good, Dr. White. basically, when we look at
We're having a little problem with your audio, Dr. Amin. If you can get a little closer.
sir,
Okay.
like I can build a headset.
Okay. If that's necessary, because we want to make sure, I mean, you got such wonderful information. We want to make sure we get some good quality on that, please, sir. So Dr. Amin's going to see if we can get a headset on so we can get our quality reestablished. You know, it's absolutely amazing. Maybe there's another opportunity for the entrepreneurs out there. Why can't we get our technology to work 100% of the time? So Skype. Why do we have such a failure in some of these deals here? You back, Dr. Amin?
Yes, sir. How is the quality of sound? Is it better?
Yes, much better. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. We are adaptive and we are real time.
Real time. This is live television, so not a problem. You handled it well, sir. So thank you. So, as I was saying before we started having audio problems, infrastructure. I mean, there's no surprise across the nation. We got real challenges, and I know it's very complex, but at the same time, we need to start looking at different funding mechanisms. And I know you're not an economist, you're not a finance, but what's your thoughts on that?
You know, infrastructure underpins GDP development. All the GDP, actually, we can look at the driver, number one driver of GDP is access to available, affordable electricity.
Right.
And when we look at pathways forward, majority of the infrastructure is owned by the private sector. So we need a public-private partnership. It's nothing new to do it, but there are ways to do it. And one of them is to focus to create, and it has bipartisan support, National Infrastructure Bank that's focused on addressing both the much-needed repairs today, such as what you were talking about, levees and water pipes and the electrical power grid, and also to bridge to more advanced, smarter, and more secure lifeline infrastructure envisioned for this century, at least for the next 20, 40 years. This public-private partnership enterprises lend money on a sustainable basis and has a clear cost-benefit, business focus, and performance metrics that may include fees for the quality of service provided by the modernized infrastructure. So that's one part. Mm-hmm. On the other part is the human capital.
Right.
It's retooling, retraining our best and brightest. And some of the best talents to help build our critical infrastructure are our veterans of the armed forces. In one of our programs, Master of Science in Security Technologies, we handpicked them. We interview about 45. We handpick a few. And these students emerge from service with maturity, years of advanced technical training, and the majority of them cope well with adversity. And when we look at whether they can be employed in the sectors that can actually help make our infrastructure more smarter and more secure, they have already done that. We have many success stories on them. Just this bridge behind me, 35W bridge. Yeah. Within less than a year, after the collapse of it, there was a city of sorts behind me that went up, that they were fabricating parts of the bridge on site, and they were sliding it into the bridge in place. And that was amazing to see this, how when we put our will, we are a resilient people that are very aspirational. If you have aspirational goals in America, we can make this happen. Similarly, for the power grid or for the water supply, the question is, what infrastructure do we create together for the next century? If you look at Alexander Hamilton's vision back in the 1800s for networks of commerce, what's the new 21st century version of Alexander Hamilton's networks of commerce? And often we think about internet or the next generation technologies, which is very true, but underneath that, how do we help position a globally competitive workforce that is trained on a few key areas that matters? So I believe the best of America and our next greatest generation is yet to come. Many of them will be the veterans of our armed forces who can be the greatest generation. Many of the young people that I have a privilege of working with, to give you some ambitious goals, we need a few of them. For example, can we reduce the cost of plug-in electric vehicles by 20 to 30%? Can we create a magnetic levitation train to speed up transportation of goods across the country? At what cost that would make business sense? Can we create smarter grid that reduce the cost of outages by $49 billion a year, at the same time increase system efficiency by 5%, that's about $20 billion a year, and reduce emissions by 12 to 18%? And the answer is we can, and we must, if America is to remain a global superpower.
And I agree with you. Word that I use often, Dr. Amin, providing we have the will to do so, right?
Exactly, precisely.
We got to have the will. We got to get another break in, Dr. Amin, so if you'd just bear with us, we'll come back for our last segment together.
Thank you.
The old world is gone. The new world is full of change, and change seems to just happen, unexpectedly, and with a resounding impact. Like a collapsing pile of sand. Businesses collapse without warning because the world is complex, and so is your business. Business complexity is Darwinian and evolutionary and complex. We must adapt. We must understand. Only the tough survive. Kodak disrupted photography when George Eastman introduced film in a roll, preloaded in the Kodak camera in 1883. Kodak introduced the first commercially successful color film, Kodachrome, in 1935, and followed up with the invention of the first digital camera in 1975. Then the multi-billion-dollar company hit a wall. Kodak is no longer its former self. Why? Apple Computer is the most successful company in history. It may become the first company to reach a market cap of $1 trillion. What does Apple management know that the rest of us don't? Will Apple still dominate in 2020? Kodak's Black Swan sunk the company in 2011. Is there a black swan in Apple's future? Is there a black swan in your future? Business complexity is about the innovator's dilemma, the paradox of enrichment, and the board. Join us on September 25th and 26th, 2012 at the beautiful Hayes Mansion in San Jose, California. Hosted by best-selling author and world-recognized management consultant Jim White. We will teach you how to use business complexity as a strategy in your business. Doing so will improve your revenue, earnings, equity, and brand. Don't become a black swan. Learn more and register at www.jlwceosummit.com.
We're back with Dr. Amin. Dr. Amin, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Can you maybe move just a little bit to your left? We want to make sure that our audience gets just a wonderful view. Very good, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, live television. But we want to make sure, there you go, looking great. Say, looking good, I tell you. That commercial, our friend, mutual friend, Dr. Ted Lewis, and we're talking about our CEO summit that we're doing in September. Once again, Dr. Ted Lewis, Dr. Rodrigo Gomez, Rodrigo, yourself, Kip Hawley. He was talking about 9/11s. We know Kip was one of the first TSA administrators, after 9/11 to put that TSA together, and many others. And our intent is to bring business leaders from mid-sized companies together for 2 days so we can give them information that's normally reserved for the Fortune 500s, is what I said. That's our intent, to be able to give them some real strategies they can put together. Today, the 2012 Fortune 500 list was released, And it's interesting, number one on the list is Exxon. Exxon's in the number one position. Walmart, number two. Chevron, ConocoPhillips. And interesting, General Motors jumped up to number 5 on the list. GE and Berkshire, Fannie Mae, Ford, and HP is the top 10. As I looked at that list, one that jumped out was General Motors, and you probably say that's where I was going as to from the money and from the bailout. So once again, all of these things, business complexity, resilience, leadership development, and you used a word that I love that we use every day in our practice called human capital. All the technologies in the world, without us continue to challenge our youth, and I'm certainly a supporter of the veterans. I'm a disabled veteran from the Vietnam conflict myself. So all the things that you were saying, we're certainly in tune. So the last few minutes that we have left in September. It's going to be a pleasure to be with you for those 2 days. So what did you share to our audience and our CEOs that are watching the show today? What is it they will be able to take away from your presentation? You're going to have a couple days. What is it they can look forward to?
Dr. White, thank you very much for your service to our nation, and I'm really honored to be part of the team for the 2 days in September. In a nutshell, it's the science and art of progress in the new business normal. How would you lead in turbulent times? Understanding how to transform our complex enterprises to become smarter, more discerning, more adaptive, and becoming self-optimizing. The ultimate goal is to make them self-optimizing and reduce brittleness in business enterprises in order to make them a lot more resilient, dealing with a wide range of challenges that we are facing, whether they are global pressures we have, whether it's the services, products that we offer. These challenges represent important opportunities for all of us to move beyond the status quo and to create a more focused, effective organizations, and to basically, when you look at the evolution of our enterprises, we are running a lot on 19th century modalities of 20th century systems. And these systems are brittle. If you look at what we have gone through since the 70s, IBM being big, then Microsoft being big, now Google and Facebook, etc. How do you make not just large organizations, small, mid-sized, as well as Fortune 500, or teams within these large organizations to become a lot more innovative and to make the system itself within them, enterprises, to make them into self-adjusting, resilient enterprises. So we have applied this to a wide range of areas, from battlefield to infrastructure to enterprises, and our results range from micro teams to macro systems modeled and tested using complex adaptive systems, practical use, and risk-managed pathways, strategies with anticipatory look-ahead foresight applied to them.
Mm-hmm. Great overview. We have about 2 minutes left in this segment, Dr. Amin, and it goes by so fast. So, and I know you had a very busy schedule to adjust to be on the show today, and thank you for doing that. I've enjoyed it immensely. You have a website that our audience could go and learn a little bit more about your wonderful background?
I'm honored to be part of the team, and thank you very much. If you just go to the website for the conference that is for the strategies for a catastrophic world, that I believe you have the website to provide. And also, if the viewers just Google Massoud Amin, they will find the website and material, videos, and other references that are available to them.
Right, that's great. And that website Dr. Amin was talking about is jlwceosummit.com, jlwceosummit.com. And we have all of our speakers and our faculties and all their information there. So that's the website you were referring to, right, Dr. Amin?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You have been a pleasure, sir. We need to do it again, and very, very often you have so much to share, and it's been my pleasure. So thank you for being with us on the show today, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, Dr. White. I'm at your service anytime. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. We'll be back after this message with Susan Barich.
This segment is brought to you by 12 O'Clock High Leadership and Management Summit. 12 O'Clock High is one of the undisputed best movie classics of all time. It is also one of the best business learning tools available. The movie rated #1 by top executives for its influence on their management styles. Now, the inspiration of the 12 O'Clock High Leadership and Management Summit, an innovative one-day event and 30-day follow-up where you will quickly see what's working and not working on the front lines of your company and in your own leadership style. Learn more at 12high.com. That's 12high.com.
Okay, we're back with Susan Barich. Susan is no stranger to the show. And matter of fact, we're probably going to have to get you a permanent place here, Susan, for as a co-host. But I wanted to welcome
back.
Go
on vacation so I can do the show.
I'm happy to. Yeah, happy to. Matter of fact, be careful what you ask for. You'll get that.
If you can get a time when I'm not on vacation.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Friday.
Yeah.
Third annual business plan competition. Tell us about the business plan competition.
It's the Monterey Bay Regional Business Plan Competition, and we started planning for it in May of 2009, and we took a whole year to plan it. And I remember one of the venture capital guys says, "Why are you taking a year to do this? Is this because you're a nonprofit?" And I said, "No, it's because I want to do it right." And we did a pretty good job planning the first year, and then we learned some things. And then the second year, we did an even better job last year. And then this year we did a really good job, and we're looking forward to making some more changes because there were some things we could have improved. So we're just improving the setup and having a great time.
Okay.
That wasn't what you wanted to hear. I can tell by the look on your face.
No,
it was a great event.
No. It's exactly what I want to hear. She just knows me too well, It's exactly. But what I want to drill down on.
Yes, sir.
I want to drill down on the people. It's regional. Mm-hmm. Once again, I want to be very clear. Mm-hmm. It is regional, and we're from Monterey, California. There's different categories. Explain those categories. And then they come and present. Then the winners, they get a whole bunch of stuff. And then what's next?
Okay, so it's a regional competition. I got you. Regional competition, and so it's Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties because that is our Monterey Bay region. And at one time, they were all Monterey County, by the way, and not everybody knows that. And so
I didn't know that till recently.
Yeah, well, Sam Farr had said to me a few years ago, he said, Susan, do something regional. We need to be bringing this region together. And so we made the business plan competition regional. We had originally started it to, there I go again, but to point up to people and promote the entrepreneurship programs that are at CSUMB, at Monterey Institute of International Study, the different incubators, the Marine Technology Cluster, and so forth. Mm-hmm. So we have 3 tracks. Okay. And at the end of February, we have a deadline for people to submit their one-page application in either student, Main Street, or venture play company. And so the difference between Main Street and venture play is that a Main Street company is something that's very important for a town or a region, but it might not return 10 times investment in 3 years, and it may not be scalable all over the country and the world. Mm-hmm. So we had, something like a Cedar Street Brewing Company, which won that category in the competition.
And they're Santa Cruz.
They're from Santa Cruz, and then the winner for the The venture play was a company by a couple of young 23-year-old gentlemen
Isn't
from
amazing?
Carmel who were so full of energy and wonderful, and you could hardly resist giving them the prize. Acne Visit is the name. It's a dermatology website where young people aimed at college students can get solutions for their acne online without having to spend a lot of money and wait a long time. And then the third winner was EpiGoGuard, which has it's the student winner, and they've developed a mouth guard for people who have
Sleep apnea?
no.
No, okay,
No,
fine. Well, we were the same way, right, Dave? You know? Come on, we're just going to throw something in here, right?
When
So-
people have seizures.
Really?
Yeah, this is for seizures.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what stage? I mean, that's just a planned stage, right? I mean, this is business
Yeah, well,
plan, so this is all planned.
Well, yes,
Right,
but these are
okay.
students. And the young man did say he was inspired by some of his friends, or a friend whose cousin had. Come on, the audience. Where's the audience? They're out there giving me the. Thank you. Epilepsy, ergo EpiGoGuard. So we've got prizes for them. We had, thanks to your company and my company, putting together about $46,000 in Circle of Success and DISC, DISC behavioral training for the winners. The prize, the cumulative prize was over $100,000 this year, which was really good for us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, and it's a great opportunity for the winners because Circle of Success, it's a one-year process. So we'll be able to work with it. When they get ready, we'll be able to work with them to say, okay, what's the next stage? Can we actually take this business plan and turn it into a reality? And an exciting part about I had an opportunity at the reception to meet the two young men. Man, are they on fire.
Yeah.
They're contagious.
Yeah.
And they're 23 years old and you want to take them home to mom. You know? And have an opportunity to work with them and see where we can go in the next year is going to be very, very exciting. The judges, I mean, we'd be remiss not to reach out to all of our judges. And, I mean, there's a lot of people that made this thing happen. And then what we're going to do, Dave, could we throw up maybe a list of the sponsors? We want to say thank you to everyone for supporting this. And here's some of the sponsors.
Yeah, we had Driscoll's this year, which was
Driscoll's.
great. And Arroyo Seco Vineyards, Ryan Zaninovich has been providing wonderful wines for the reception for all 3 years, and so that's been great. And you can see that the Monterey County Weekly, Eric Cushman, he's part of the planning group, and he works with us for months. It takes us 9 months to put this together. Mark Peterson from Peterson Communications is always Johnny on the spot helping us out.
Right.
Patrick Riley at IP Society. The Good Times donated some time this year. Ian Stock at Entrepro Law. And Jeremy Neuner, Next Space. Jeremy gave a nice talk to open up the event. And then it was cool because then Sam Farr came in at the end to close the event with his talk. And it was pretty much about, they were on the same theme, which was, hey, folks, quit investing in Silicon Valley. Why don't you start investing in companies here in this region? Open up your pocketbooks. So it was
Love
great.
it.
It was great.
I want to drill down on some of the other winners. After we're going to get another message in. We're going to pay the bills. So we'll be back after this message.
You too, huh?
The current business climate is becoming more and more complex. CEOs on the cutting edge know they must explore strategies to understand and command the marketplace. The first annual JLW CEO Summit, Strategies for a Complex Business World, will enable CEOs and business leaders to explore strategies applicable to an ever-increasing complex environment. A unique opportunity to become educated in complexity theories and inspired to turn those theories into real business strategies with a focus on earnings, market share, and brand improvement. A powerful format that is a blend of the World Economic Forum, the Clinton Initiative and TED Talk, hosted by best-selling author and world-recognized management consultant Jim White, PhD. Along with many specialized business authorities, you will explore strategies for a complex world. The much-anticipated JLW CEO Summit, Strategies for a Complex Business World, will be held in the beautiful Hayes Mansion in San Jose, California, September 25th and 26th. Visit us online at jlwceosummit.com.
Thank you. We're back with Susan Barich. Susan, let's drill down on some more great folks that made this thing happen. And we don't, if we leave anyone out, we apologize, but that's not our intent. I'm going to give a disclaimer now, okay? But, there's so many great opportunities, and I love what Congressman Farr, he's been a supporter since day one.
Yes, he has. He's been great.
And
I just think he loves the region. There's no better salesperson for this entire Monterey Bay region than Sam Farr.
I agree. And
he supports the farmers. He supports the the ocean guys. And so how he does that dance is wonderful. He's just, he's great.
Yeah. And not to mention, I think on the show that we did just a couple of weeks ago, his involvement and for his Fort Ord and influence in that as a national monument. So anyway, thank you, Congressman Farr. I met a young lady from a newspaper, and I hope I'm not having another senior moment.
John D. Gums.
No, the Sentinel.
The Santa Cruz Sentinel.
Yeah, what was her name?
John D. Gums.
Yeah, she did such a great job and giving coverage to the event.
She did a feature article every day for a week. There was on each of the companies that was from Santa Cruz.
Right.
And then the morning of the event, she did an article about the event. And then the morning after, we had an article in there about the winners. She did a great job. The Sentinel did a wonderful job helping us out with that.
Yeah. And the Monterey Weekly. I know I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Well, Monterey Institute of International Studies, they host it at their beautiful Irvine Auditorium, holds 250 people, and all of their facilities where people broke out and went to breakout sessions. So what happens is we have the student category and the venture category and the Main Street category. And the student and the Main Street, there are those people who give the first session to the first panel. Then they get a winner out of that. Because there are more venture companies, there are 3 panels, and so they go away to a session and come back an hour later, and they give us the 3 finalists from those, and then those 3 finalists present again to the entire auditorium, and then the judges go away. Sam gives his talk while they're judging, and then they come back with a winner, and then Sam announced the winner of all 3 categories. Then
I see. Some of the judges, we also have Monterey Herald, right?
Eric Cushman.
Eric Cushman's.
And this is the committee that put together the competition, and these are the guys who work with me for 9 months to do this. Is Mark Peterson from Peterson Communications, Eric Cushman from the Monterey County Weekly, Brad Barbeau from CSUMB Business School, Chuck Erickson, who's used to be the director of the Software Business Incubator in San Jose, Brooks McChesney, who used to be on the board. He's from Carmel Valley, and he used to be on the board of that incubator. Chuck Boggs from Paladin Venture, Rock Clapper from the Band of Angels over on the peninsula, and Chris Kahn and Alan Barich, who are on my team at the incubator. And then, of course, Adam Davis and Natalie McDonald, who do all the footwork. And
the people that make it happen?
Yes, they did a great job. Really great job.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
I tell you what, and it is time consuming as well. The commitment to that, and it just goes on and on about the other judges that were involved. Wasn't it Lane Wallace? Was he a judge?
No, Lane Wallace is a reporter.
He's a reporter. Well, he wasn't a judge. Okay. Anyway, Lane, I just want to give Lane because he's a very big supporter of the show here.
Great.
So
Hi,
just
Lane.
trying to work that in, right?
Yeah.
At the Monterey Herald.
What's interesting about what I've learned about leadership doing the business plan competition is that, one thing that leadership does is convene. So, it's not about going around and telling people what to do. It's about bothering several times a month to call people up or email them all and get them together, and that's leadership.
No, I agree. So what else do we want
On
to
the business plan
share from the
competition?
business plan
Let's
competition? And then we want to get into some great stuff that you guys are doing. And we're doing jointly.
Yeah, that's we're. Oh, I know. We had Kirk Nagamini came over from Fresno, and he has the Small Business Development Center and the WET, Water Energy and Technology Center over in Fresno. And so in February, his group and my group got together at the Grower Shipper Association because we're all working with growers. They've got orchards, nuts, and pit fruits over there, and we've got the specialty crops, the lettuces and so forth over here. And so that's been a nice relationship that's developing between us and the Fresno group.
You introduced me to a lady from the SBA. Who was that?
That was Elizabeth Eccles. Can't forget Elizabeth.
Absolutely
Elizabeth
not. Who is she?
She is the person. She is a presidential appointee, President Obama's appointee. She used to be the director of policy for Google, and then she was on the Obama transition team, and then Obama appointed her as the administrator for Region 9 for SBA. And so all of the federal administrations have these different regions. And Region 9 is Elizabeth's, and she is very gracious to us. She and I were on a panel for the National Business Incubation Association April year ago, and in San Jose, and we found out that she went to music camp 100 yards from my cabin in Sonoma County that my grandfather built in 1927. So we had that in common. And she's great. Elizabeth is a very gracious, delightful person.
Yeah, just had a few minutes with her, and she's very excited about her job.
Yeah.
And I think that's an area our audience probably doesn't know enough about. Is exactly what there is at the SBA, what you're there to do. I think that's maybe that's another show.
Yeah, well, she's. What I like about it is here's somebody who really comes out of technology company,
right? Who
is working on in the government. So that's heartening.
It is heartening. It's good. Okay, what else is going on? Last time you was on the show was just a few days ago. I was talking about the affiliation between J.L. White International and Project 17 International. We're very excited about that. A lot of great things. And as we go forward, and people to understand exactly what the circle of success is, Dave and I were talking about prior to going on air, it's one of those things that since I created it, sometimes I take it for granted, and our staff that's been doing it every day. But it's such a comprehensive and a great opportunity that we have jointly is bringing tools to make these mid-sized companies that they'd never be able to afford. And it's kind of leveling the playing field here a little bit from what's available to these companies. So we're excited to continue.
It's a very broad spectrum of consulting that lasts for a year and is looking at your business holistically. How this is your unique business, and what are all the functions in your business, and how is each one of them doing, and how can we help pump you up here and pump you up there. You're doing great here. Let's work on this, and for not that much money, it's a really great deal to have someone with your expertise right there in their back pocket,
or
the front pocket.
Also, you just completed what's referred to as a think tank session. Can we say something about that locally?
Well, we've done 3 think tank sessions in the last 18 months for agriculture, because what we're looking at doing is dovetailing. This is Project 17 Agriculture Innovation Cluster, which is what SBA is funding. Right. And we're dovetailing technology into ag to help reduce ag's costs, because their margins are getting squeezed out by the retailers. So if they can reduce their costs, that's the only place for them to increase profitability anymore. And so the think tank sessions are set up to say, well, what are your issues? Oh, it's water, it's nitrates, it's phosphates, it's water issues. Okay, let's have one on. And so we get these big growers together, and they it's phenomenal because they don't normally get together They're very, very competitive and very
I was going to
siloed.
say they're competitors, and you want them to come to the room to share all their secrets.
And they do. They do.
They did.
It was
They
wonderful.
really open up.
They really did, and it was fantastic. And I think we've made some good progress. I would love to get some money to do a demonstration project for some of the bio-denitrification remediation of the water in the ground here, and
What kind of money we talking about?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But it would be something like. I would hope to talk to the Elkhorn Slough Foundation, and maybe we can do something where their water, water is going through their property in the ground and going into the slough and help clean up the slough. So that would be great. And the growers, these guys that we were working with, they love the land. They were so excited to think that there was some kind of way that they might be able to remediate their fathers' and their grandfathers' water pollution. They just said, let's do it. So, but somebody's got to help them out, organize it, because they're busy growing food.
And we cannot forget how many billions of dollars a year does the ag bring to this region, Monterey County specifically?
I don't know what the extrapolated economic indicators are, but it's $4.5 billion in sales just from Salinas Valley, and that doesn't include Pajaro Valley. No, there's going to be, there's the whole issue of the methyl bromide, methyl iodide. Methyl bromide's not so bad on people, but it's really bad on the ozone, so that's been outlawed by international treaty. And then methyl iodide, there was not so great on people, so that has been pulled off the market by the manufacturers. And so what are these guys going to do? The organic growers have some solutions. I don't know if they work on the commercial scale that we've been producing strawberries at. Strawberries are the highest food in vitamin C. I heard that some doctor on NPR say that one day. So they're very good for you, but we have to figure out how to grow them without toxic side effects.
I understand. All great stuff, and we got just a minute or so left. But I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the recent announcement from Capital One.
Oh, right.
Capital One, we're losing in the next 12 months, 850 employees been displaced in
850 something.
Salinas in Monterey County, which is significant, and it's going to be interesting to see what strategy is going to come forth to try to help put these people back to work. And
well, it's my understanding from what I read in the Santa Cruz Sentinel is that the bank is providing some money to the region to do retraining and placement and so forth for people. So that's a place to start. But yeah, that's not good news for the city of Salinas.
No, it's not. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Next week, we are going to drill down further on the JLW CEO Summit that we're going to be doing in September at the beautiful Hayes Mansion. And we're also going to bring on some other guests and other faculty. Coming on the show is Kip Hawley, which is the original TSA administrator. We're going to get Kip on the show, talk about his role in the September event. So until next week, make it a great week.
This has been Jim White's Circle of Success. Please visit our website, jlwcos.tv. Join us next time as Jim White brings it all together on Jim White's Circle of Success.